Okay, I'm going to make a very simple, quick chicken soup using a lot of ingredients that are already somewhat prepared. And you certainly can substitute whatever you have. This is what I have. This is some bacon grease that I saved. It's good stuff. It's from pastured pigs. Don't be afraid to use it. Putting that in my pan, maybe a little bit more, so I can cook my chicken. What I have here is maybe 1.5 chicken breasts, boneless. I don't usually use boneless, skinless chicken breasts for much of anything, but I keep them in the house for chicken salad and for very quick soups and such. There, a nice hot pan. You want that real hot. You want it smoking. All right. I'm going to give this a quick wash so that we'll have a clean surface. Now you just want to keep stirring this now and then. Keep the pieces separated, keeping them cooking all the way over. If you already have some cooked chicken somewhere, that's actually even better because you can make it even quicker soup. Now, I've been known to go to the deli, the local grocery store, and get some, I ask them for maybe a 1/2-inch thick slice of turkey or chicken from the deli if I need to make a really fast soup. Then I can just cube that up to already cooked chicken. So, I don't, necessarily recommend that. That's for an emergency. Oh, and I'm also proving to you that you don't have to be neat or have fancy tools or be wearing Hollywood outfits to be a good cook. Some of those cooking shows can be a little intimidating. So while that chicken is browning, get some garlic peel. This is a little method of getting it to release from the skin a little easier. You just get a flat-bladed knife. Make sure you're not going to hit the edge and smash it a little bit. Normally I would peel this over the trash, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Important note here, make sure your hands are completely dry before you peel garlic, which I did not do, so that's why I'm struggling with a little bit, getting the skins off. So I'm going to have to grab a paper towel or something. I also kind of wanted you to see, almost real time, I did have to assemble some of my ingredients so that I could get this done fairly quickly. There, that's a little better. Alright, I'm just going to dice this up, and chicken should be cooked pretty quickly because I already pre-cut in chunks. Now what I'm doing is slicing my garlic into little sticks, and then I'm going to dice them coarsely. It doesn't have to be real good. You can use already diced garlic. I make my own pre-diced garlic, jar of garlic for the fridge. I just happen to be out right now, and I planted garlic this year, so I'm hoping to use my own garlic in my diced garlic. So when that happens, I'll try to remember to make a video of it so you can see how to get the really good stuff. No chemical preservatives. Alright, so I basically had 3 very large cloves of garlic. We do like garlic. There are some cold family right now. Garlic is very good. You can actually put a whole head in if you wanted a real garlicky soup to be real medicinal. Boys, dinner. Enough. There's a squirrel in the backyard. Alright. Okay, so there's coarsely diced. This is starting to cook. I don't know if you can see that, but when it's no longer that pink clear and the juices no longer run clear, but the juices kind of opaque looking. It's kind of whitish. No longer has any pink to it. So I'm going to put the garlic in. Let that cook a little bit. Garlic is delicate. You don't want to overcook it. So while that's happening, I can get some other things ready and show you what I've done. I've got some homemade chicken broth. This is a traditionally made bone broth. You can use store-bought broth if you'd like, but please, please, please do not use bouillon. Bouillon is poisonous. It's all MSG. So you want to make sure that whatever broth you purchase also is a high-quality broth and does not contain MSG. A little buzzword on a lot of labels now, spices. They've got a way to get around not labeling MSG by putting it in a package of spices, and then they don't have to label it. So I'm just going to open 3 of those and tell you what I have here. After this is a little cooked, I'm going to add this. This is some squash, actually this is pumpkin that I baked, mashed, and pureed last fall, into the winter. I was still pureeing some of those pumpkins into the winter. And I froze it in little half-cup measures. That way I could use it in soups and in sauces. It's a way to add a vegetable and add a sort of all-day roasted flavor to your soups and sauces without doing that. You're just basically working quick. So this will add a little bit of that flavor. Also, the fact that I'm using bone broth that came from roasted chicken is going to give it an all-day flavor. That will really help a lot. Okay, that's coming along. So that's going to go in as soon as I'm done browning the garlic. Meanwhile, I'm going to chop the carrots. How you chop them is up to you. If you want this to be done really fast, you can make them really small. I'm going to let this simmer for a while, so I'm going to make them a little bigger. So you'll find that carrots that aren't quite crisp and fresh slice a little easier without flying all over the room. I peeled these before I turn the camera on too, just for the sake of speed. Alright, and then the ingredient that's not absolutely necessary but is one of my favorites in chicken soups and in a lot of soups is scallions. I grow these in my garden. Just used up the last of last year's, and this year's aren't quite up yet. Shows that I need to expand that part of my garden. These add the most wonderful summery flavor to any soups. Now what I like to do is just trim away the tops that are a little jagged. I'm actually going to save these roots because these are actually really good medicinally. As an expectorant, you can make a tea with the roots and the white parts of scallions and ginger. Simmer it for about half an hour in a covered pot, and then strain it. And you can add honey, you can add some, a tea bag, a regular tea bag, just to get some better flavor if you like. But it's actually quite delicious. So I'm going to use these today because somebody in my family has a cold. But normally, if I wasn't going to use them, I have a Ziploc baggie that I keep in the freezer that I add those to whenever I have some. So things are looking pretty good here. Starting to get a little brown around the edges. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. I don't really feel a need to brown this chicken because it's going to cook, and it'll be a little more tender if it's not browned. And you're going to have the brown flavor of this. Boys. All right, keeping the world safe. Biscuit. 3 is going to be enough. So we're going to add our scallions. I just cut them right into the pot. You can use a knife with scissors for really quick with this. Now I do not add carbohydrates to most of my soups and stews because we eat a low glycemic index, low carbohydrate, not real low, but fairly low carbohydrate lifestyle. So we don't have as many. So I like to have biscuits or buckwheat pancakes with my soups. So I don't put any in the soup, any rice, any noodles, any potatoes, or anything like that. This is a little rosemary from a plant that I saved and tried to keep alive, and then I forgot about it and it died, but it still has wonderful rosemary. You can certainly use rosemary from the store. I'm just putting a few needles in here, probably a teaspoon or so of rosemary. Parsley from, oh, look, I almost forgot the squash. Alright. Parsley from last year's garden. When I'm using a lot of garlic and onions, I tend to go generous with parsley. Alright. Salt. This is the good sea salt. Don't put too much in yet. I like to taste it later. Maybe a good round of teaspoon. And a little bit, maybe half a teaspoon of black pepper. And we're just about done. Give that a stir. Okay, this pot is about half full now. Okay, what I would like to do is let this simmer for about 15 minutes because I want the scallions to simmer for at least 30. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to continue because carrots hold up really well. And I'm just going to simmer the whole thing for 30 minutes. If you need to walk away, too, you got other things to do, you certainly can do this because carrots don't fall apart like other vegetables. My last ingredient in my quick soup is going to be just, frozen cut leaf spinach. Adds a nice green to it. Other things that I've added, depending on what I have, if it's spring and I have sugar snap peas from the garden, I'll put about half of that in there. I'll throw those, chopped green beans, snow peas, just about anything light that doesn't have a lot of flavor. I tend to not use broccoli because it kind of overwhelms the soup. So this is going to make a really lovely soup. See if I can. Okay, I'm going to lift the camera up. Don't get seasick. Here we go. I want you to look in the pot. See how beautiful that is? And let that simmer for 30 minutes, and we'll have a lovely chicken soup for supper.